All right, we are up and live here. Thank you guys all for tuning in to the East Coast feed, the Central feed, the West Coast feed, however you are. I know it's late for everybody, I guess, really. If you're drinking, cheers. If you're eating Pringles, I know these are brand new, but these aren't 1970s Pringles. Unfortunately, I'm kind of bummed. But I will say, and Amanda thought I was lying, those Pringles were absolutely delicious. If Smokey can come and join, that'd be amazing. I know he said his power went out. If you guys are in the chat right now, thank you guys all for being here. I'm going to bring in Ken Napzok. Ken, what's up, buddy?
Oh, well, what's up, Mr. Josh Macuga? Happy to be here on your channel where we first really ever did something was on this YouTube channel. I'm cold in Burbank tonight. I am so jealous you got to eat a cereal that I did try back in 1984.
Did you really?
I had boxes of 3POs.
I love it. And let's see did this gentleman have any actual C3POs? Mark Ellis, everybody, aka Lil Smokey. Smokey.
I never had 3POs, but I was looking through old stuff yesterday, and I think maybe I had a dream. It might have been like a fever pot dream, but I think that I found my box of Terrell Owens TOs. And I was like, because that's from like mid 2000s. If I could get Joshua to eat that, but I never had 3POs, and I was insanely jealous, and if I may say, a little saddened that they didn't taste better.
We ate that a long time ago, and I think the person that could let us know the exact date of when we ate that is our executive producer, our showrunner, director, the guy that made all this possible, one and only Mr. Matt Braley in the house. What's up?
What's up, man?
What's up, buddy? I miss seeing that face every day, I'll be honest with you.
Josh, you look great. Did you get a haircut recently?
I gave myself the wrong haircut, if that makes any sense. Little high, not tight. Yes. Yeah.
It looks good.
Thanks. When we were on set and we were eating the 3POs, these are my two buddies that are the biggest Star Wars fans I know, plus our one buddy Christian, who's not here. But these guys, remember we were talking about it, I was like, if I don't have one Star Wars reference that is at least accurate to a Star Wars thing, people are going to freak out.
Yeah, because you hate Star Wars.
Facts.
Matt, don't. Come on. They kept dogging on me too on set, being like, you don't like Star Wars. I was like, I like Star Wars. I promise I like Star Wars. Ken knows I like Star Wars. I'm not as diehard as these two guys.
I'll take a like, man. I'll take a like.
I'm bent out of shape for a different reason. I right off the bat, I have a bone to pick with your director, Josh, and that is just tell me when we can start talking about Crystal Pepsi, because I have a major issue with that.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. Rip it up.
So first of all, you almost two golden opportunities to reference things that I love, which is what this show should be about, pleasing me.
Sure.
The first one is that this is actually the Super Bowl. Crystal Pepsi debuted during a Super Bowl in January of 1992. It was celebrating the 91 season where the Washington Redskins won Super Bowl 26. So there was. Okay. There wasn't a mention of that. So those were where the first Crystal Pepsi commercials aired, and Crystal Pepsi happened to sort of pillage their theme song from the greatest hard rock band of all time. Pepsi called Van Halen's management and said, hey, we want to use Right Now for Crystal Pepsi. And Van Halen's management said, no, we're not giving you that song. And then Pepsi said, well, if you don't give us that song, we're going to do something that isn't quite the same, but it's like an exact ripoff, and everybody's going to think it's Right Now. And so then Van Halen's management is like, we might as well get paid for this. So they sold them the rights to Right Now. So I wanted Right Now and the Redskins mentioned, but at least you got to drink Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah.
Josh did mention, I don't know, 80% of that in scene. We just put everything in. He did a good job. He did mention the Super Bowl. He did mention Van Halen. He got all that stuff. It's just we just don't have time for everything.
And I joke, but y'all are doing a great job with the show, and you can really tell who the successful director of the four of us is, because the rest of us have a bunch of crap in the background, and you have like a nice painting and a beautiful couch, and I'm sure it leads to like a nice foyer.
Yeah.
And his lovely, the side of his lovely fiance's face just off screen.
Oh, yeah.
Who, by the way, Matt's lovely fiance was a producer on the show as well. Emily, you can stick your face in real quick if you want. There she is.
Hey.
Miss
The
Emily.
thing is, this is not our apartment. We are staying in Emily's aunt's apartment for our quarantine here in Milwaukee. So
Milwaukee.
Yeah, they got the hell out of New York just in time and quarantined for a couple weeks.
Yep.
In Milwaukee. I will say this. I told them via text, Matt, that when we were on set and we were drinking the Crystal Pepsi, that I kept singing Right Now during the scene. And you'd be like, just stop that. Stop it. We don't own Van Halen music. I'm like,
Yeah. There's a lot of things that Josh does on set that are unclearable from the TV standpoint.
Is there a particular food item that we've seen thus far? So we don't want to give any spoilers, but is there a particular food item, Matt, that you're like, oh, I cannot believe that actually went into their mouth?
Oh, geez. That's a great question. I need a second to think about what they've eaten already.
The moose jelly. I was like, I'm out on the moose jelly.
Moose jelly was good. I mean, Josh liked that.
Here's the thing with the moose nose jelly is that Amanda thinks that I'm lying, that everybody thinks that I'm lying. I got a lot of texts tonight from family and friends about the moose nose jelly. What you do see on camera is there was still fur left in the jelly. Obviously, there was still fur in there. But what they didn't show is we got some like toasty, like some little mini toast crackers and some like pickles, some like mini pickles. Spread it on the toast with the pickles, and it was fantastic. I'm telling you guys, it was like a French restaurant pate, but it was moose. But it was moose nose jelly.
I can't. I just wow. No. When he pulled out that bag of fur and blood, and I would have run. Matt would have had to pull me back to the set. I would have been in another state. God bless you. God bless.
Guys, we have a very special guest, somebody that has tried a lot of this food. And by a lot, I mean more than me, because I didn't eat the fruit cake tonight because it had nuts in it. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Oldsmokey.
Hey, what's up, guys? Glad to be here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. I think Smokey's in a cave. Are you in a cave somewhere?
I'm outside, so I got some weird lighting set up. Hang on.
No, you look good. No. Keep it like that.
Yeah,
keep it like that.
That's better.
Good.
No, it's great. Smokey looks like he's having a seance in his backyard.
Smokey's going to tell us the ghost story.
Now everybody looks like Virginia.
There it is. Smokey, we were just talking about the moose nose jelly. Me, who loved it. You, who...
I didn't think it was all that bad, man, after I tried it. It was just the texture. That was...
Smokey, how many things in your life have you eaten with fur on it still?
Probably actually more than I can count. I'm from West Virginia. I've eaten deer. I've eaten a lot of wild animals. So, yeah, fur doesn't always get cleaned off as well as you think it should, and it always ends up in the food. Yeah. Yes.
Here's one thing, obviously, and Matt can attest to this, and I'm sure as I'm watching the show and Smokey's watching the show, that a lot of stuff that ends up on the, the editing room floor. But when we pulled that moose nose jelly out of the boiling water, Ken was like, don't worry about it. Just go in with your hands and rip it up. It's not that hot. And I was like, it's boiling. We both put our hands. I didn't feel my fingertips for about 5 or 6 days after. We had like fireman's gloves on there to try and pull that fur off. Then we got little tweezers. Meanwhile, Ken's in there just ripping fur right off of it. It was quite the scene. It really was. And what Matt sent me a picture. I think an original cut, Matt, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, did have the full nose of the moose off of the nose, off the moose.
Yes, it's pretty graphic what you did there, and I have to say, we the guys did not know what we were going there to film that day when we went. Literally until Ken opened it up and revealed the moose head in a box. So we kept them in the dark right up until that moment. And I gotta say, I was hoping these guys would be freaked out about it, and they both handled it like absolute champs. They pulled this, we didn't have it in the cup, but they pulled the moose head out of the box and put it on the table, and Josh is all pumped to cut the nose off. And I mean, it was graphic. It was really graphic.
Yeah.
They handled it like champs, though.
Yeah,
It's
Matt, when you guys are putting the show together, are you looking for things to make them too disgusted to do it, or is there a fine balance between they're still going to do it, but I want them to have some thoughts before doing it? Like, what's the balance?
Yeah, you gotta find a balance. You don't want to offend people. You don't want to gross people out completely. But you do, I think, want to make your, I hesitate to use the word talent in this case with, Josh Macuga on board, but you don't want to make you want to make your talent uncomfortable. You want to get them out of their comfort zone and see them react to things. And we thought, going to Kings and having him unveil a moose head would really throw our guys here, but they weren't thrown at all. They put their hands right on that moose head. Josh took a knife in his hand and cut the nose off the moose. I mean, it was wild. That was a wild day for sure.
I will say this, that knife, we were warned it was very, very sharp. That thing was, that was the Hattori Hanzo blade from Kill Bill. And it cut right. I mean, I cut right in one swoop, and Smokey was right there. One cut, I was straight through the nose. And then it was intense. And that moose nose, or that moose head I have a picture, I'll probably post it online tomorrow, of me with the moose head. It is huge. That moose head was really, really big. And Smokey, we also cut the cheeks off, but they didn't show. We cut the cheeks off and had cheek steaks too.
Yeah, as soon as Josh laid that knife into the moose nose, and I swear it slid right through it like butter. It was like a knife through butter. I pulled him off to the side, and I was like, Josh, I've never seen a knife this sharp before in my life, dude. You got to be careful because you'll accidentally cut one of your fingers off with this thing. It was so sharp.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so I'm gonna come clean with y'all. As soon as I saw that scene, I texted Josh and I said, "This is the point where Mark walks off set because he doesn't want to see this thing anymore." And I have a question for y'all's director/producer. Is there anything that you ate that was obviously that the guys were just like, "Dude, you have to try this"?
Wait, what do you mean?
Like a C-3PO or a moose nose jelly or
that we made Matt try?
Yeah.
Well, Matt said if we ate it, he'd eat it. Okay?
Right.
So
Good leadership.
yes.
It didn't always happen, though.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. Now, like Smokey just said, did that always happen?
Mm-mm.
No, it didn't.
If it was bad, though, we made him do it.
Important thing.
Yeah. There was opportune times when Matt just wasn't around after, like, he'd be like, all right, let's cut that. And then he just wasn't there. I'm like, Matt, where'd you go? Oh, man. Yeah. But Matt did have the moose nose jelly. He did.
Okay.
I'm trying to think, like, here's the thing is I think the thing that I was most excited for was tonight's Pringles, right?
Yeah.
Is that was my favorite thing that we ate. Those things were perfect. And my favorite story is about like 2, 3, maybe even 4 weeks later, we were reopening certain bins that had certain things in them, and the Pringles were still there. And Smokey and I ate a bunch more of those Pringles like a month later.
It was longer than that. Whenever with that last shoot we were just at, they were sitting over on a table, and I went over and grabbed them. I was like, they'd been open for months at that point, and they were still fine. They were actually, I think, better because they'd aired out a little bit.
I don't disagree.
I've never had a bad Pringle in my life. Like, I was watching it. I've had disgusting cereal. I've had I've never tried moose nose jelly, but I imagine there's bad meat jellies out there. But I've never had a bad Pringle. And I'm curious, like, how far back you can go, because y'all have never tried a potato chip in a bag yet, right? You've done like crackers and stuff like that, but not a potato chip yet.
Frito.
Well, we had the Frito.
Frito,
Yeah.
right.
Right.
But no, we haven't had like very old Lay's potato chips, or like, Ruffles, or anything from, again, the earliest potato chips that came in those bags are probably, 100, almost 100 years old. So if anybody's out there and has them, or if we can find them, we'll eat them for sure.
By the way, this is on Josh's channel, so we want to welcome everybody to Josh's show here. On the top row are 3 roommates who are trying to act like they live in separate places, and then in the bottom you have a successful director, and then Oldsmokey is in Act 3 of a Children of the Corn movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So Spellgo says sour cream and onions is my go-to Pringles. All right, everybody has their go-to. Mine lately has been this original lightly salted. I mean, these things are fantastic. Matt?
Yeah, I'll go sour cream as well. Today on Pringles, I actually had some jalapeno potato chips that are rocking my digestive system, but also my taste buds. But if any Pringles like that, I'll go for that too.
Mark?
Okay, this is a little off board, but I'm going to go. I don't know if they still make them, but they used to have pizza flavored Pringles. So you're combining pizza with Pringles. There's nothing not to love about that. Bested only by the cracker kind of pizza combos. Those are like the greatest snack ever made.
Smokey and I have talked so much about pizza pretzel combos. My God.
Yeah.
Not
Matt,
cheese. They don't make them anymore. Combos.
Correct. They don't make those nacho cheese combos. Matt, what's your favorite Pringle?
Sour cream and onion.
Yeah.
See, he's a sour cream and onion guy. Smokey, you're sour cream and onion too?
Sour cream and onion or the cheddar. It just depends on like what my palate is craving at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love cheddar because that's like, do you like cheese? And how about cheese?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Smokey, speaking of your palate, I've heard that when it comes to adult beverages, you like a certain kind of iced tea from a certain part of New York. Is that true?
That would be true. Yeah. Yeah. If I'm going to have something, see, I don't like whiskeys or anything like that. As far as adult beverages go, I can drink a beer with the best of them. But as far as hard liquors go, I'm just not a fan of straight liquor. So the more it tastes like Kool-Aid or some sort of, easy to drink beverage, that's what I want to drink.
I'm with you there. I'm with you. Smokey and I are going to have a good time at Applebee's. We'll sit by ourselves if all you adults want to go somewhere. Him and I are doing the $1 Long Island Iced.
I want to go do Long Island drunk with Smokey in downtown Burbank, just stumbling in and out of IKEA. That'd be great.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, when Matt makes his way back to LA, we got to get Smokey out to LA and, take him to some haunts, show him some of the better Long Islands in town. I think that's the.
And Emily reminds me, Smokey does not eat a meal unless there's a smoothie attached to it.
So every time we get lunch on set or dinner on set, wherever we were, Smokey like, you guys sell milkshakes here? And we had milkshakes everywhere. Smokey lives for milkshakes.
He will walk 3 miles in the middle of the night to get a milkshake.
Yeah.
I've probably done that.
I knew I loved Smokey. That's Ellis will tell you. I walk into bars and be like, "What's your dessert menu?"
Yeah.
I watched Ken take down some sort of like a coffee cake while drinking a whiskey, and it was like hanging out with your grandpa after Thanksgiving dinner.
Let me tell you about Roger Starr back in my day. He was a great quarterback. Yeah, we can show that chili pudding there.
When we were in Michigan, Michigan is where the Campbell soup family was, the Kleins.
Oh, right.
Which I'm still really bummed that we weren't able to try that Campbell's ketchup. Like, I think about that more often than you'd imagine. I was really, really bummed about it.
He shut you down. He shut you down hard.
I mean, right away. Yeah.
What was it like dealing with that dude, Matt, as the director? Like, are you haggling with like the collectors of stuff as far as what you can get the boys to eat, or do they just say up front and there's no negotiating?
No, there's always negotiating. Always. Going in there, we knew what they had sort of offered up that the guys could taste. So we knew going in there that they'd be able to taste some soup. But obviously we want to always push the envelope whenever we can and get more options in the can. So when we see
Ken, did you notice they did a fast pan to avoid any sort of logo or copyright infringement? But did you see all of the prequel Campbell soup that guy had?
I paid attention to that. Oh,
yeah.
there's Star Wars soups from the old days. I wanted absolutely. Give me that.
I'm telling you guys, there wasn't. I mean, we showed a lot of it. Okay, here's the thing, and Matt, I can see Matt starting to giggle about it already. Okay, so, and they were amazing people. They were like the nicest people. Everything in that house was Campbell's soup. They made us a Campbell's soup cake. That was, what was it? Tomato soup and nutmeg.
It's a tomato spice cake.
Yeah.
It's like
tomatoes.
Did they invite you all upstairs? That's the question.
What's that?
Did they invite you all upstairs?
There was no upstairs. It was a trailer, so it was like a double wide, right? And they had a tomato spice cake, and
shape of a kid. It was awesome. I've never seen it. It was delicious.
It was awesome, and they had all these old Campbell's soup dolls everywhere, but they also had like 5 or 6 dolls that were from. I feel like they were in the collection from La Lorena or Annabelle's creation.
Lorraine Warren.
Yes, they were Elaine Warren. Thank you, Smokey. They were the Conjuring dolls, 100%.
Yeah, the Campbell's kids. But their entire when we say their entire house was all Campbell's. It's an amazing collection, but they actually live Campbell's. They live it, they sleep it, and they wake up to it every day.
Yes.
Was that Stockton, California?
No, that was Lansing, Michigan. Well, here's how the story goes. So we were in Lansing, Michigan, right? And the second night we were there, it started snowing really badly. And we were at this bar right by our hotel, closing the place out. And Smokey asked the waitress like 3 or 4 times, "You guys still don't have milkshakes here?" And so and you got to realize that Smokey is on one leg. So when it's snowing and he's got a crutch, he's like, "I'm walking to get a milkshake." I was like, "You're not walking to get a milkshake at this hour. No way." It was like 2:30 in the morning. When the man wants a milkshake, the man gets a milkshake. I'll just say that right now.
I love that. I respect that. I respect that, Smokey. You come to Burbank, we'll go search for some milkshakes.
Exactly.
That's
but
actually
we did
when Josh almost killed me with hot sauce and then drove me to the ER. Right afterwards, Josh was kind enough to take me right to my favorite milkshake place, and he bought me a milkshake.
See, there you go. Yeah. Everybody knows that.
That's cool.
So, what, Matt? Why on the show? I guess because Smokey like spit out the fruitcake. Did we not aware the audience that I'm allergic to nuts? Did we not?
Yeah, I don't think there's a particular reason other than, I think that might be interesting to you personally. But we only have so much time. We're always trying to find ways to cut time out. So
sure.
I think that's one example of ways that, we got to look at certain things here and there.
Yeah.
I'm pitching this storyline for season 2, Matt, because I've seen this happen. Feed Josh some tacos with nuts in them, and then you have like a ticking time bomb of him needing to find an EpiPen or Benadryl at Comic-Con before he dies. It's tension filled. You're ready to spike to the roof. It's gonna be just slip him in there when he's not paying attention.
I like that. Okay.
Ken, I don't hate this idea. As a matter of fact, I think the first half of the show is Josh eating foods that may or may not have nuts in them, and the second half is Smokey has to get Josh to the nearest hospital, but he's got to find a milkshake place first.
It's pretty good. Is there, Matt? Do you? So the moose nose jelly. Was that I mean, like, anytime we talk about our, favorite, and Smokey can feel like our favorite adventures, like the road pieces we did. Do you think we had the most fun that day with the moose nose jelly? Do you think that was like our?
Well, look, I mean, I was not on the road for everything with you guys, and I know you guys had a ton of fun when I wasn't there. Not enough. I don't know why that would have been the case. But as for the days that I was there, moose nose jelly was a cool day. I mean, it was crazy. It was very busy. We had a lot that we were doing. We were actually filming 2 scenes that day,
Yeah.
which really ramped up the stakes. But I think the moose nose was just so out there, and having that moose head there, it was just wild. So yeah, I think that's up there for me. Like when I think of going in the field with you guys, moose nose jelly, I'll remember that forever. And whenever anyone asks me what's the craziest thing I've ever eaten, I'll think of moose nose jelly for sure.
Yeah. Smokey, go ahead.
Dude, that particular day, actually, every day at Ken's was I struggle to find the right word for it. Adventure's not it. It was it was more than that. Ken he's something else, and every time that we filmed there, it was just that there were surprises every time that we turned around. Not just from Ken, not just from the food, just the whole situation there. I mean, it was tough. We were trying to film a lot of stuff there. But it was, I'll tell you what, we made some memories there. I'll tell you that. Nobody's going to forget the days at Ken Albala's.
I will say Thrawn 2K5 says recreate the Temple of Doom dinner. We talked about that many times on set. We really did talk about the Temple of Doom.
Snake surprise.
Exactly. Yes.
There's some brains eaten in our show.
Yeah, that won't make it.
Don't say that. They might make it.
Yeah.
We could make another full-length 1-hour show from all the footage that we're not using.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we have some really good stuff that you guys are having to cut because I was there for it. I mean, there's some good stuff that's not making it.
A lot of stuff that you guys, I've been watching the after shows. I see what you guys are talking about. A lot of the stuff that you guys are like wishing that were in the show will make what they call webisodes. So they haven't been released yet, but History will be releasing additional content online, stuff that we didn't have time for, stuff that does hit the cutting room floor. They will release on webisodes. So, I obviously don't want to give you too many specifics there, but I just
do you see that question, Matt? How much footage gets shot for their final 30-minute edit? I'll say this.
Let's let Matt answer that because I guarantee you it's like 80 to 100 hours or more. It's probably more.
It's so much. It's not that much for a 30-minute episode. For a 30-minute episode, it's probably 12 to 18 hours.
I'm talking on all the different cameras. So we're talking up in the,
so it's
70 hours
of content, and we shoot on 3 cameras at a time usually. So, I mean, if you add up all that, it's a lot. But, anywhere from 12 to 18 hours, depending on the episode. And that gets cut down. 30-minute episode for History Channels, really much closer to 22 minutes or even less.
Is there a food, because we're talking about like all these exciting things and things that were like, too hot to make the cut, but was there any food that was just kind of a dud that was like, oh, we thought this was going to be great and it just did not play at all for whatever reason?
Well, okay. So we thought we had, what was it, like 1915 Ovaltine? Something like that. Like
1921.
Yeah, we thought 1921 Ovaltine. We opened it and it was birdseed. We got totally catfished. We got catfished.
Wow.
Yeah. Somebody told us that they were sending us Ovaltine and they had never opened it. We said, don't open it. And clearly somebody had opened it a long time ago, closed it. They found it and they figured it was sealed and they sent it to us. And it was definitely birdseed. Yeah. Wow. That was a funny day. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the only thing I'd add to that is, you just never know on this show. This show, more than any other I've ever done in my short career, you just never know. You go into a scene thinking it's going to be one thing, and you open it up, and like Josh said, you just open it up thinking it's going to be something, and then it's not. It's something completely different. On this show, it's like that every single scene. So honestly, no, I don't even think that scene was a dud. I think that scene was really cool because something really surprising happened. So, that might make it down the road, who knows, into the show, but you just know, and it's always, always surprising.
But did we drink the bird seed? Unfortunately, we didn't. No.
No, because that stuff could have been like 100 years old, 100-year-old bird seed. I'd hate to know what that would do to my insides.
Exactly. We already know that Smokey and I had a really, really tough time with the 100-year-old cod liver oil, which we talked about last week. This week, nothing really, and I will say that this week's 2 episodes, which I loved these 2 episodes a lot. Matt, great work. Really, the whole team did an amazing job on these 2 episodes. It was awesome.
I feel like they're getting better as we go along.
100%. I think that happens with any TV show. Is you find your stride and you go, especially for seasons. But I will say this episode had the most tasty of all the foods in one 2 episode block. I love the Pringles, the Tootsie Rolls. I'm telling you guys, I don't know, the Tootsie Rolls. First of all, the experiment, the story, and everything. That was one of my favorite segments to shoot, for sure.
By the way, Darryl Green, all-time great cornerback for the Redskins, had a Tootsie Roll in his sock during every game. I don't know if Josh mentioned that or not. But
Josh did not mention that. That would have been great. I would have loved to have had that in the show.
Yeah, that would have been a good piece of info.
Yeah.
Season 2, we get Darryl Green.
The Tootsie Roll looked – it looked like a skunky Tootsie Roll. That was the first time that I'm watching the show, and it looks bad, but it actually tastes good. Because sometimes things look good and they taste bad, but that looked like it was from the 60s. But Josh, you Smokey, you thought that was great too, right?
Yeah, it was legitimately good.
Wow.
And when people ask me just in general about the show, I will tell them that going into whatever the product or item might be, I'll in my head, I'm like, okay, I've got a good idea what this is going to be like. And almost every single time that we go in, it's the exact opposite of whatever I was thinking. For instance, the cod liver oil, I was borderline afraid to try that. I was like, man, it's just going to be straight oil. It's going to taste like fish. It's going to be horrible.
It was bad. It was bad looking. What you didn't actually catch on camera too. Do you remember, Smoke and Matt? Is there was these oil bubbles that kept bubbling up and over.
It looked like oil. It just looked like oil mixed in water. You know how if you put oil in water and rotate it around. That's what it looked like.
It was brutal. It was brutal.
It was like the volume eternal stench from Labyrinth.
Yeah,
it was. It was. It was
a spoonful of the La Brea tar pits.
Yes.
There is a webisode coming where you will see more of cod liver oil.
Good deal. That's one that really surprised me because like I said, I was borderline afraid of that one. I had a lot of apprehension about that one. And after that first spoonful, I was like, yeah. And we ended up taking the full recommended dosage, which was 3 great big, huge tablespoonfuls. And I wish we hadn't, because had I known that all 3 of those wasn't going to make the show, we paid for that horribly the next day.
Yeah.
And that day right there, by midday that day, 15 minutes, I'm running to the bathroom. And go home in the bathroom all night. And then the next day, almost miss my car to go to the airport because of having to go to the bathroom. It was just this constant, back and forth to the restroom.
Yeah. Matt, this is a question for you. DJ Old Boy asked. I just want to know if Josh and Smokey are going to wear the same shirts at conventions.
Yeah, that's a good question. You guys have to wear the same shirts always.
Yeah.
It's a uniform. It's a uniform.
It's a uniform. I think Freddie Concepcion asked, how bad was the coffee, Josh? I honestly, there were some things, and we haven't gotten to the worst thing that we didn't even get to try yet, and I don't want to spoil it. You do see it in the trailer, but we don't eat it on the show. Because the smell, we would have died if we would have eaten it. But the smell of that still sits on my nose. And the taste of that coffee, and I forgot how bad that coffee was until the episode tonight. That coffee it was terrible. It
was kind of really bitter, and it was almost like we made coffee out of a root from an old dead tree or something. I mean, it wasn't. I don't know. There was something about it that I liked. I don't know. I think it might have just been the fact that how old it was and the history behind it, maybe. Because it didn't taste the greatest, but there was something about it that there was an allure there that kept drawing. I ended up finishing the whole cup. So,
Yeah, I did not. I definitely did not. That was brutal. But the cool thing is that the story behind the Tootsie Roll, to go back to the Tootsie Roll and the Chosin Reservoir and those Tootsie Rolls holding that water like they did, because I was just driving a screwdriver through like metal. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
that's
you're
a
talking
ordeal too. I mean,
yeah. Oh yeah.
holes in that thing. That took us like 15 minutes of pounding on that thing. It wasn't easy to get through. And that
No.
was a cheap Chinese mess kit, like a knockoff mess kit. That we didn't ruin a good U.S. military issued mess kit. It was just a cheap knockoff, and we had a hard time getting through that thing. But it was impressive that the Tootsie Rolls actually held up and held the water out for as long as they did. In the temperatures that they were in, it would have worked.
Yeah, totally. And I think that the one thing that the camera sort of got that we didn't like focus on were those little turds coming out, like the little wieners that came out, the Tootsie Rolls that came out of the other side.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, you guys could see it on camera, but I could see you guys cut around that, man. And I appreciate that for sure.
It was, I gotta say, like on set that day, there was a lot of laughs when we turned that over and saw those little turds sticking out.
Well, we didn't think about it, and then we flip it over, and it was like staring you right in the face, and there it is.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff, there's a lot of stuff too. I feel like that was funny that we done that could make the show at some point. I hopefully, like my little sister watched the first 2 episodes, which I didn't watch, and I still haven't watched. But she told me that she texted me. She was like 20 minutes in. She's like, I've laughed out loud 4 times already, which I thought was cool because I hope that people can find some humor in it and learn at the same time. And, and keep some, it's interesting to most people because everybody has to eat, right? Everybody has to eat. Everybody's pretty familiar with most of the products that we have. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's something that everybody can relate to.
I agree.
It's a genius concept. It is a genius concept because every one of us has either had Cracker Jack or some, cereal from when we were a kid or wanted to, try something, but you're a little afraid to do it. And this show just helps you vicariously live your own eating dreams out through y'all. Smokey, if I can ask you real quick, what has it been like being on a TV show around your friends and family the last couple of weeks? Like, are you big time? Because Josh won't even talk to any of us offline anymore. He's become a huge diva.
Yeah. I'll be honest, nothing at all has changed in my life. Nothing. With this lockdown, I did have to go to Walmart like I don't know, is it 4 or 5 days ago? I went to Walmart to get some groceries and stuff. And I wore this hat. I won't be wearing this hat again because every person that I seen was like, hey, aren't you that guy on TV? And I'm like, I just wasn't in the mood that day. I wasn't feeling the greatest. I was like, yeah, that's me. Yep. I live in a very small town with like a few hundred people. So once the cat's out of the bag, everybody knows, what I mean?
As soon as this whole thing is over and you can go out in public, Smokey, I'm telling you, you got to just put the hat on, go to like Walmart or something, and just enjoy your fame. It's well earned.
Soak it up. Josh, I'm curious, since we have Matt here, and we know as your buddy how long of a process it was to even get this show and the auditions and the chemistry tests and all that kind of stuff. Matt, what did you see in Josh Macuga and Oldsmokey that you were like, this is the winning combination? We're going with this.
Well, I got hired and they were the guys already. So
there you go.
Wasn't any of that.
Okay, well, Josh and Smokey, what did you see in Matt that you said this is the only guy that can direct us?
Well, Smokey, I'll take this one. Matt took us out to dinner our first night in New York, and he paid the bill after I think I had like 7 cocktails. And I was like, Matt, winner, let's do this. Let's make some TV magic. I will say, okay, so the crazy part is our first couple days on set, they couldn't figure out how to work the heat in the studio. So it was like 40 degrees, maybe less in the studio.
We didn't have heat.
We thought we didn't have heat. We were all freezing. You could see our breath at points, and I'm not sure if they edited it out. And so Matt, and it was like, Smokey and I had never worked together. Matt and Smokey and I had never worked together. There was a bunch of producers in the room. Everybody had it, and we were freezing, like uncomfortably cold. Okay. And Matt handled that like a boss. And after that, I think we all after about 3 days and then they finally figured out how to work the heat, that we finally got we bonded through, it was almost like we were in the Chosen Reservoir.
Yeah.
Trials and tribulations what brought us together.
Yeah.
Back to the episode tonight. And then we formed this little family, because at the end of the day, you're risking your health every single day on the show in a weird, fun, educational way, and you kind of became this wild, fun family at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. They're definitely people I'd consider family now. Everybody who was on the crew that stuck around the whole time, it's like a small family now. It's an extended family. And, we have our war stories together now, like just the stuff that we went through together and stuff that we're not going to talk about in public because there's a couple things I could mention right now.
Are there bodies buried somewhere, Oldsmokey?
you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yes. There may be some basements that are just possibly.
Well, you know what? We keep our stories to ourselves. Those are off-camera kind of stories for sure.
Exactly.
The one of the cool things I think on tonight's episode that we didn't see, Matt, which I loved, was that the Pringle from the first generation to the Pringle now are the exact same chip.
Yeah. That
they stacked up perfectly, over 50 years or 45 plus years.
Yeah.
That chip is still the same. Was that ever in a cut?
That was in the cut. That was lost for time.
Yeah.
That will, I believe, be in a webisode. I don't know when they're going to release or how they're going to release the webisodes, but we are, as part of our deliverables, we have to send them, 3 to 5 minute cuts of webisodes. So that is in one of the ones that we're sending the network. It's crazy. This show, I've never had a harder time getting a show to time as I do on this show. On a lot of shows, you're looking to be like, all right, what can I pad? How can I get this up to 21 or 22 minutes? You're fluffing up your bumpers and your title graphics to give you another second here or there. On this show, we're actually delivering this show pretty consistently, almost a minute over time. So we tend, history's deliverables basically say you got to send something at 21 minutes, 10 seconds for a half-hour show. Our executives have basically said, okay, this is tough. We don't want you to lose this. We don't want you to lose that. You can deliver these at 22:10. So we're delivering these episodes each at basically a minute heavy already. And we still are having to figure out where we're going to cut time, because I think everybody on that works on this show loves every part of it. There's there's the fun stuff, there's the informative stuff, there's the gross stuff, and you feel like you need all of it, and it's really, really hard to cut parts of it down. But yeah, literally everything that you guys have mentioned on the chats before of oh, I wish they put this part in. It will all make it to light someday on the webisode. And Josh, that was a really cool moment. So Josh was quick on his feet and basically ran to the crafty table where all the crew and producers get their snacks during the day, and Josh and Smokey get their snacks during the day. We had Pringles there, and Josh basically went and grabbed those so that he could compare those with the Pringles from the 70s that they opened on in the scene. And I don't want to give everything away, but he did do a comparison, and it was incredible how alike they were in certain ways and how different they were in other ways.
I think that the Pringle might be our best modern invention food-wise.
There's a lot of science behind a Pringle that people would never realize. You know it? They put a lot of effort. I mean, it was 10 years in the making. Let's be.
Yes.
I don't think we actually, that didn't make air either. I don't think.
Well, no, it
was in
the bottom. Yeah, I learned a lot about that and the potato crisp versus the chip thing. These are all things I didn't know until tonight. So this is why the show works on a lot of levels.
Yeah. And
I said this in the beginning before we ever filmed anything, and I talked to you on the phone about it, Matt. Whenever our first conversation, I remember this.
I remember.
I was like, dude, History Channel needs to make this a 1 hour show. Like, and it would legitimately work as a 1 hour show, no doubt. I mean, there's so much stuff that you could add an extra, item or two or three or whatever to the show. And so it's not as crunched. I know, like you said, it's hard to lose any of the stuff that you have to cut. I totally get that. I understand exactly what you mean.
I just don't want to sacrifice. Like, I love whoever y'all's DP was, because we need more super up close, sexy Pringle shots, because that camera that was just doing like a pan over, like it was the sands of Tatooine. Oh, yeah. It was so detailed. The way it was just flying right over. I was ready to eat that chip.
Was that second unit stuff, Matt? Was that you have a second unit director who's just coming in and getting the action shots flying into that Frito bag from episode one?
So for those shots, that's our director of photography, Steve Purcell. Really talented guy. He does awesome work. Really awesome guy too to have on set. And he's using a probe cam, which was really, really, I think, the right camera for this show and for those particular shots. I think we sort of behind the scenes envision the food items as the sort of nemesis of Josh and Oldsmokey. So they're taking on this nemesis, and so to sort of make these foods feel larger than life, we're using this probe cam, which can give you the impression that you're this small little thing, like you said, flying through the desert, and it's just a potato chip, but it looks huge, and that's what the probe cam will do for you.
I think that's great.
I will say that my use of Alderaan and the Death Star, that's like as deep as my Star Wars knowledge goes, and I felt really proud that went. That I texted when that aired on the episode, Matt. I swear, I texted Ken and Mark immediately. I was like, "You guys are proud of me. I made a correct Star Wars reference."
I made a Star Wars. But honestly, Matt, how many takes did it take for him to remember that line you said?
No, he did it first take, and I got to say, there was a slow clap in the edit when the editor saw that. They stood up, they started clapping. There was tears. It was a beautiful moment.
I love that. It was great.
I gotta say something about Steve real quick, because our director of photography, Steve, he's like the Ron Swanson of our show. He should be on our show. Like, yes. He is legitimately a character. I love that guy. He's a woodworker. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, he's legitimately,
dude. There would be points. So when we were doing the, it wouldn't really matter what we were doing, and if we cut down, he'd look over and be like, yeah, it's like he just had a Ron Swanson style delivery. That was that. Yeah.
Like, he would slip in when you weren't watching and I wasn't watching, and like right after we'd get done filming something, and he'd grab whatever food we were eating most of the time and he'd eat it. And then he'd give me his consensus on it later on, and I'd be like, "When did you even eat that?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, I went in and grabbed some after I heard you guys talk about it." Like, okay, cool. I love that.
The adventure that was this show is, and I think each one of us, Matt, Smokey, and I will agree that each day we went in there, each day was kind of a fun new adventure of one, figuring out if we could eat it, 2, testing each other's knowledge, and 3, yelling at one another to be like, I can definitely eat this. And Matt's like, don't effing eat it. You don't have to eat it. And Smokey's in the back going like, Josh, you don't have to do that, man. I'm like, it's just moose nose jelly.
The cookie from last week. I wish we had smell-o-vision, because those cookies stunk so bad that there was like a package of liquid shortening that you had to add to it. And after we mixed it up and Josh threw it in the oven, and it came out looking exactly like it did going in, which a cookie is not supposed to do.
No. He
takes like this big ass bite, half the cookie in his mouth. And I'm like, what are you doing, dude? You're just taste it if you're going to do, because I knew, and some things are just going to not be good. That was one of them I knew was going to be absolutely disgusting. And Josh decides to go ahead and just eat half the cookie right on. I'm like, yeah, I just didn't know what to even say or do or think at that point. I was just like dumbfounded. I was like,
Yeah.
stood
Bit
there
off
and
more
watched
than I
the
could
whole
chew.
time.
I mean, last week's episode should have been called Bit Off More Than I Could Chew. There was the Toll House cookie. I ate like half that Mario bun in the abandoned house. Like there was a lot of stuff that I should not have eaten as much as I did.
I wish I would have tried the Mario bun. Actually, I mean, I have a feeling that it was very similar to something else we had, and I think that's the reason why I didn't. But yeah, it was frozen. I think was another kind of crappy point at that because it was cold. It was really cold in PA when we were there.
It was freezing. Like that night. I did not have the right clothes on. I mean, my jacket was great, but my boots weren't amazing. Matt will tell you straight up that History Channel did not like my pea coat. Matt, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, I would say I wouldn't put it on the History Channel. I mean, I would say America doesn't like your coat. I mean, that pea coat is atrocious.
I heard that numerous times.
The pea coat and scarf combination is like the
When
worst
we were in
thing on the planet.
when we were in Jersey, it was like the jacket's got to go, man. Like
Yeah.
you can't keep this jacket up.
Yeah. It was. Yeah.
While you're cutting down these episodes, be honest. How many, in terms of minutes, do you have to cut out Josh's puns just to get the show down? How many puns are on the cutting room floor?
Puns, yeah, no, he's a good one of the puns. He also does a lot of the jingles. He knows all the jingles to all the songs.
He makes them up. He makes them up.
He make them up if he doesn't know them.
Yeah.
But when he knows them, it's tough because it brings all these copyright and trademark things into play.
Whenever he done that, what was it last week? He was like, "You want to hear the jingle?" And I just looked at him. I was like, "Nah, not really." You guys just didn't see the rest of the day leading up to that. And I was like, he'd already sang it at the top of his lungs, and I'm like,
I'm really bummed out that you guys cut out, and I bet it didn't.
Oh no! Did he freeze?
he did.
Say it again, Josh.
Say it again, Josh.
I said I'm bummed that you guys didn't put in me singing the Pringles jingle.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, we're all here.
I don't.
Go ahead.
Once you pop, you can't stop. You can't stop. Like, come on, that should have made the show. It's a great jingle. It's for a great. You know what? All you guys need to shut up.
How much would that jingle cost you, Matt? What would that cost you?
Honestly, I don't know. See, the problem is you don't want to ask permission sometimes.
Yeah. No doubt.
I'm going to ask permission right now because I don't know who the movers and shakers at History Channel are. Matt, I'm sure you have them in your Rolodex somewhere, okay? Here's what needs to happen. We need to have an Eating History Live tour because here's how you sell tickets, okay? It's like $30 for general admission. It's like $100 to meet the guys afterwards. But if they pay like $1,000, they get to eat everything that Josh and Oldsmokey get to eat. That's. I mean, and then Ken and I, we could open the show, Ken.
Yeah.
The only hole I'd poke in that is $1,000 is a very small amount when you get to turn around and sue everyone for millions of dollars because we could never have people eat this food. I mean, every single day we talk about this food on set. Like this stuff really is dangerous. You don't really get a sense of it on the show because these guys are, Josh and Oldsmokey, they are seriously good at this. They take it seriously. They play it out very well on the show. They're just having fun, but like. You have to be really careful. This stuff can be extremely dangerous. There's a lot of companies and networks that would just not do the show out of fear of someone getting seriously ill or worse. So, a lot of credit to these guys for the way that they're able to sort of find their way through this. And each time they take a bite of something, seriously, it's a huge risk. We don't ever really overplay that in the show because that's not the show. The show is about the history of the food. It's not about how this Pringle might be dangerous. And a Pringle is probably not the best example of it, but a lot of this stuff, it doesn't take a lot to really put someone in the hospital.
Yeah, Moosehead is a good example.
Moosehead is a good example.
Come on,
That guy was already thawed out, laying on Ken's freaking patio out back. Like that thing was pretty sketchy. Let's be real about it. Like,
here's the thing: is Smokey has been talking about this since day one. It was sketchy, blah blah. It wasn't that big of a deal. The moose was there. We ate the moose. It was fine. You guys are freaking. The moose was delicious. I will say this: my wife is watching it and she's going, "There was fur still in that." And I was like, "Yeah, there was definitely fur still in it."
I wish the part where when we cut that open and Matt, like I looked at Matt and I was like, my bite has to have the fur on it, and I can't stand this gelatinous crap anyway. Like, and I'm like, okay, I bit the big one for the show on that one because in everyday life I wouldn't have eaten that. That's something I would have not eaten.
I do have to say it's sometimes a show just gets lucky. And that could have been the only fur in that whole mold. And somehow Ken cut it right on that line to where there was fur sticking out of that. And poor Smokey takes his bite and he goes, "There's fur on it," and takes a bite. And I look at the mold and I'm like, "Oh shit, you're right. There is literally fur there." And I talked to Steve, the director of photography. I go, "Make sure you get shots of that fur in that mold because that is horrendous. That is terrifying. It is disgusting. Make sure you get shots of it, please."
Like I said, is that Ken earlier? I said, Ken's like, go in there and rip the fur off, and my hands were burning because apparently Ken has no feeling in his hands because my hands were so on fire. There's no way we could have gotten all that fur off, and Ken was like, "Looks good enough," and he threw it back in the boiling pot, and then it takes. A full 12 to 14 hours of cooking that down, and that's why he called it pocket soup. And then the next day we tried it, it was already in the mold. So we had no idea what Ken and like the fur and where it was in that whole thing. But, there was still in there.
He said that would cook off. Because he did legitimately cook it for like 18 to 20 hours. He's like, "Oh, yeah, that fur, it'll cook off." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah." So, no, it was still stuck to the meat. Like it never went anywhere.
Exactly.
I forgot about that 15-hour gap. So how does he like to torture his victims while the moose nose pudding is being made?
Mark, Ellis, everybody. You know what? Thank you guys for tuning in. Matt, thanks for being here. Smokey, thanks for journeying out of your cave or wherever you are right now.
As to not wake up the family. It's 3 a.m. here.
It's true. It's 3 a.m. Ken and Mark, thanks always for hanging out on the live stream and everybody being in quarantine. And thank you for everybody in the chat for watching the show, for being here for the after show. A lot of people had some awesome comments in there. And thanks for everybody that contributed to the super chat. A lot of fun. And I think that, the show's been awesome, Matt. I think you would agree that all these episodes have really, really turned out well. I'm getting so much positive response from people in my life that I didn't think would watch the show. They'd be like, they would watch maybe the first episode and then they're still tuned in on episodes 5 and 6 being like, I really enjoy this show. So I think that's a testament to what you guys are doing. So
it's a testament to what you guys did. We're just putting it together and we've got an awesome team that's worked very hard and through all this crazy, worldwide pandemic stuff, these guys are still working extremely hard. So I'm fortunate to have a team in place that is just absolutely killing it. So you guys did an awesome job. In studio, and they're doing an awesome job now, and I just get to ride everybody's coattails.
You got the best / worst job in the world.
You did an awesome job too, Matt, and hopefully we can do this for another season, man. I really enjoyed everything. So Matt is great at what he does, so I just wanted to throw that out there. He really is great at what he does.
All right, Matt, stay safe in Milwaukee. If you want to come back on the show, you just tell me. It's great to have you, buddy.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks, guys.
All right, man. See ya.
All right, man. Later.
Later, Smoke. Good work. Wait, don't leave, Smokey. Don't leave yet.
Okay. My bad.
Smokey, thanks for stopping in, man. I know you're up late, and I know we all appreciate it, and all the fans finally get to meet you. The people that have watched Ken, Mark, and I for the last 8+ years finally get to meet and see you, and not just see you type in the chat. So Thanks for making the time. If we can make this work again next week, that'd be awesome.
I'll be here.
Love it.
Smoke, it is
everybody stay safe.
Finally see your face as we get to talk to you, and just like we're huge fans, man. And I can't wait to hang out with you in person. And
it won't be long. I'll be
in
California.
Yeah,
I can't wait Come out there.
We're gonna go to the Comedy Store patio. Then we're gonna go up the street to Mel's Diner. Butterscotch milkshake, one of my favorite things in the world. Oldsmokey. You and I
Sounds really good.
stare eye to eye and just sip from the same one with straws.
All right.
All right, dude. Love you, buddy. Stay safe, man.
All right, man. Be good. Thank you.
See you, buddy. See ya. All right, boys. Thanks for being here. Love you guys. Are we doing Friday, Saturday? We got to tell the peeps what's going on.
Who knows? I'm doing so many live streams. I'm really tired, but I think probably Saturday we should do something, right?
Yeah, sure. I love it.
We're proud of you, Josh.
What's that?
Dude, I'm proud of being your friends. I don't know. I'm drunk.
Yeah, that wasn't good at all. You're the host of a TV show.
Wait, let me do a classic Mark Ellis line from when he was drunk at the Improv, maybe 8 years ago. Hey, instead of get home safe, everybody get safe is what he said, and then walked off stage. I was like, huh, that was a ballsy move there, Mark Ellis. Well done, sir. Well done.
I totally forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me.
You're welcome, sir. You are welcome.
Josh, quick question, because I know
Yes.
Ken wants to know this too. The 3POs couldn't have been that bad.
Yeah.
They weren't very good. I thought they were going to be a lot better. I think there was something with the sugar coating. It was almost like a honey smack. You remember the honey smack?
I like Honey Smack. Golden Crisps, yeah.
They just didn't. There for some reason that had like it just had like a very bad taste to it, because the Batman cereal, which have we gone to that yet?
No.
I remember I can still taste it in my mouth. I had so much Batman cereal.
Yeah. The Batman cereal is going to be in the next couple episodes, which I love.
It was kind of Captain Crunchy.
Totally. Yeah. And it looked more like a Batman. The C-3POs made no sense. They just looked like an infinity sign. It just,
Yeah.
you know, but there was something that happened in that box. There was something chemically that went wrong in that cereal after 40 years that it was weird. It was weird.
Tastes like a droid.
Did George Lucas need to digitally remaster and add some new cereal?
Yeah. C-3PO shot first.
I want
Shot
to
first.
redo the cereals, just kind of bring the cereals back around to where I intended them originally.
Ken, that's a sneaky good George Lucas.
I've never heard your Lucas before. That is really,
really
really
good.
good.
My Lucas always turns into a Lawrence Kasdan, so it's kind of one and the same at times.
Yeah.
Josh, we can't forget to let people know tomorrow we will be on my Twitch channel, 4 p.m. Pacific, recording the afternoons. As we always do, we will just be broadcasting it live on Twitch. So a live stream of sorts. It's really going to be a podcast recording, but you can go head on over to twitch.tv/Ken Napzok and get ready for tomorrow.
Absolutely. And, Amanda and I have kind of figured out this live stream thing. It only took me a quarantine and a TV show after show to figure it out, but I think I'm there. The amazing Brian Ward has helped me out with some logo stuff. The one that I had ready for today was awesome, but it just might be a little bit too big. So I might need to. But I think with 5 people,
it hurts. Yeah.
Yeah. So I might have them just make me a little bit of a smaller one for next time. But other than that, I thought, this went swimmingly and you guys crushed as always. And, if I can't see you in person, it's great to see you guys in a computer, I guess.
Feel like we haven't missed a beat.
And if maybe we could raise some money for charity, I don't know, we'll figure out the details later. But I actually, right before we launched the stream live, Josh's computer froze and he had to restart it. But there's a picture of him frozen, and I took a picture of it. So maybe once we get to like 1,000 or 10 or $1 million for whatever COVID-19 relief, I will release that picture. So start those donations somewhere.
Perfect.
You guys are the best. I love you both.
Love you, boy.
See you in a couple days. Until then, I'll see you in the text. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate it. Bye.